Today we want to talk about what does it take to make you feel safe
in your relationship.
Now, the first thing that comes to mind when I think that is, what does safety mean to the person?
Now, that takes me back to the color purple. Let me give a visual for those folks that are visual. When you see Oprah's character tearing through that cornfield looking for Celie, and she said, "You told him to beat me, and I will see him dead first. Because all my life, I done had to fight men." I probably missed some words, but stop smiling.
It sure did trigger some trauma, though, didn't it?
Yeah, Oprah's character's trauma.
So is safety? Do you think safety has a lot to do with physical abuse?
Well, I think it's physical safety, there's financial safety, and then there's emotional safety. There are some people that are in relationships and they don't pray for each other. You pray for me all the time. I sometimes pray out loud for you. Maybe sometimes when we sleep, I might be saying, "Lord, what a gift. I thank you for him." But you pray for me every day. I pray for you every day. I thank God for you every day. You've just been such a gift to me. But I recognize that there are people who live in like enemy camps. And they're not trying to wish anything good on the other person. And there's no safety there.
So I'm preying on you, not P-R-A-Y, P-R-E-Y. You're praying. Yeah.
So then what does it take to create that safety so that they can grow together? And I don't know. I have seen some people that keep going and things seem to get better. I don't know how they ever let their guard down enough once they've been mistreated in that relationship and just keep going, whether it's through infidelity, maybe you gambling and you took all the money and we can't pay the bills this month and I have to go ask my friends, I have to go ask my family, to help us stay in the house, whether or not I feel like you mistreated my child, whether it's your birth child or not, those kinds of things. But they managed to work through it and are still together years later. I don't know how they do that personally.
Well, I think defining what it takes to be safe, my concern with the safety issue is not so much being safe as being prepared, because there's just so much that we cannot stop from happening, because oftentimes all the systems that we're getting to keep the home safe is not protecting us from the enemy that lives with us. So being conscious of who you're with is a safety matter, but then also being prepared so you know how to call 911, you know how to leave, you have a strategy. Your thing a lot of times with relationships that are not going well, if you know the mindset of the person and you're not feeling safe, there's some things you can't do that if you do
telegraph.
Yeah, don't.
Don't telegraph it.
Sometimes you got to engage.
It's the shows that I watch. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to call the police on you.
I'm going to call my brother.
Yeah, you ain't going to get to that phone.
and then if you know you're in an unsafe situation, now I'm thinking the whole spectrum here. I'm thinking about your physical safety, the safety and health and well-being of your family, your extended family, because sometimes when you're in unsafe situations, things you do here could threaten people that don't even live in your house.
That's true.
So having that kind of consciousness of knowing how to address that so that the decisions you make actually ends up allowing safety to come into play rather than the lack of safety triggering you to do some things that put you even more at risk.
Now, there really are a lot of people out there, and we haven't talked about so much how people manage mental illness in their intimate relationships. There's a lot of crazy people out here. I don't know if it's DSM-5 or TR, whatever it is right now, but it's crazy.
Queen Latifah, in one of her earlier rap songs, and I can't think of the name of the song, but she said, "Is you ill or is you sick?" Okay, because if If you sick, I got some medicine for you. If you ill, that's a whole, you can take medicine and still have that problem.
Right.
So it's being able to distinguish where the person is at, so you're at a better place to say, okay, because mental health is real. We encourage people, we're both therapists.
Don't get some help.
Get you some help. Let the help. If you are a Christian and you believe that the power of God and prayer can change things, don't play with your prayer life. Start it out in the morning. Lord, protect us, cover us, build us. Don't just protect us from, prepare us for. Make it authentic, make it real. But if it's something where, you're dealing with psychopaths, you're dealing with persons.
Narcissists.
Yeah, a narcissist. You're dealing with a very angry person.
Recognizing that a lot of that stuff is just thrown around now. It takes a whole lot of individual things to meet an actual diagnosis. Mm-hmm. I'm hearing too much stuff thrown around, and I'm thinking, no, that's not what that is. That's just over there jackassery or immaturity or, a temper tantrum. But there really is a real level of mental illness.
Right.
You can also feel like it's some kind of spiritual issue going on at times too. It can really be very hard to be there and then to also feel safe in that situation. But there are lots of things. When I say things, I mean programs. I mean physical addresses and phone numbers that people can use to help them when they're ready. Mm-hmm. But just, I've got to throw this out here. Research indicates, though, when it comes to domestic violence, physical violence in the home, it takes the abused party at least 7 times of leaving before it sticks. But I've met other people who are like, oh, what? Okay. And when you get home, they gone. Mm-hmm. And you don't hear from them no more because they don't need 6 or 7 times. Women, sometimes men too. I think we talked a little bit about, men want a war to fight and a damsel to rescue. They really think they can fix it for her. And she might not have those kind of intentions towards him. So we're certainly not just saying men are abusive. I've seen the other side. And you don't want to deal with those chicks. I've actually talked to brothers who have said, Toy, there's a lot of angry women out here. There's a lot of them out here. I remember one guy said, I took the woman out to eat. She ordered up a whole bunch of stuff and then said, I don't want to eat that. He said, I told them, pack that stuff up and put it in my bag. I'm not getting ready to pay for this and they don't get eaten. He said, no, I didn't call her back. I don't know what that was about. Why would you do that? So it's not just at that play level of I'm trying to date. Let me see how far I can get by. Let me see if I can, find out what your attitude is. I think, too, it's important to ask some important questions ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, I know I've added to the list over time. I do want to know what your credit score is. I need to know you have a job, not because I need you to pay my bills, but because I need to know you can pay your bills because I'm not paying your bills. I have children, so I'm not getting ready to try to spread that out and take care of you too. That's not going to work for me. I need to know you got a place to go when it's time for you to go. You see what I'm saying? And then I also wanted to know, I had to add this to the topic as time went on. Have you ever been court ordered to anger management? Because getting court ordered to anger management is a whole nother level of anger. And I need to be aware of that ahead of time. And then as time went on, and it seems like every decade I found something else that I thought was important to add to the list. I can remember being very frustrated with Black men because I didn't feel like they were physically taking care of themselves. You have insurance. It's not like you don't have it. If you didn't have it, I could understand your struggle. We could talk about giving blood at Red Cross because they check your iron level. There's a whole lot of stuff you got to pass in order to be eligible to give blood. Now, when I told my mother that many years ago, she thought I was crazy. The next year, there was an article in the newspaper that said, if you don't have health insurance, you should go get blood. They check a few things.
Now, I'm hearing a few things, and then we're going to shift it a little bit into a healthy relationship that's trying to build a more emotional realm of safety. One is that if you're dealing with some kind of mental illness, there is processes that you go through, there's diagnosis that establish the mental health world is so into the money part of it and third-party insurers and all that kind of stuff. You got to have a diagnosis before you can bill for the session. And so people are being diagnosed a whole lot more quickly than what they should be. And you have to be conscious of that. Don't let someone just immediately give you a label when they haven't even had a chance to talk with you long enough to get the context about what's really going on. So you can make sure you get the help you need, whether it's talk therapy or medication, things of that nature. Then there's another part of knowing when there's safety. You've got to have some things in place when you're dealing with people who are just angry or people who are abusive.
Physically violent, yeah.
And like the stat that you use, this is how many times a person will leave an abusive relationship before they're finally able to stay
Because
away.
we've been taught that love conquers all.
And some of that is our faith teaching us that. I've heard people that's actually say, you know, my spiritual leader told me, you trust God in this, and it did not end well. So you have to make sure that you're getting advice from people who really are trying to help you and are prioritizing safety and able to look at the signs when things are not safe. Mm-hmm. So you know how to navigate that situation. Now, the other side of it is, if I'm talking about emotional safety, and you've been adding a lot to it, finances, a person's physical health. I feel safe with you when I know you're conscious of your mental health needs and your physical needs. And when you don't take care of you,
I get angry because if it happens, I'm going to take care of you. You're going to be like, can somebody call her over? Because I'm tired of her. You know how I am already. I'm always looking in your ears, your nose. I got business over there with you.
But that's you doing it. But what makes me feel safe is the person who's sick has the knowledge to want to take care of themselves. Because I don't want a fixer. You're a fixer.
I am.
I don't want a fixer taking care of me if I lack the ability to take care of myself, because now I'm totally dependent on you. I'm sick because you ain't doing your job. But if I'm going to have a healthy relationship with you and make you feel safe with me, you got to know that my mental health, my spiritual health, and my medical health is important enough for me to do something about it.
And you do. You do that. But I know other people who don't. And the thing that was added to the conversation while dating is, what does your blood work say? I learned this from a great auntie. The question was, is he really dateable, or is he looking for someone to take care of him? Because his health was such, she came away from the one date that he's looking for a caregiver. He's not really looking for a relationship, to be able to go out and have fun and all of that. He's looking for a place to land.
Which, to me, if we looked at context sometimes, that could be a healthy, safe relationship, because someone is looking for someone that needs someone to care for, and they need to be cared for. Those relationships can make it. Are they healthy? Are they safe relationships? No. They're just built upon, I just know how to find enablers. And that does work but it's hard for people to hear. But sometimes people feel safe when they're in those type of situations. But it's not healthy, and ultimately it's not safe, because usually if something happens to that caregiver, then that other person doesn't do well thereafter. So we've dealt with a lot today. We've dealt with the aspects of just physical safety, emotional safety, a desire to want to be safe, and then also how easy it is to find someone who will enter your dysfunction. It's not a healthy relationship. It's safe, but it's based upon codependency, not based upon, I'm safe because you take care of you. Mm-hmm. You're safe because I take care of me, and then we join that together. So we hope you've been blessed with this. Is a lot. But
I might have got locked in a loop somewhere in there.
but you help, because I'm glad you brought out that mental health part of it, because I want people to really look at that aspect when we start talking about safety. Sometimes people are not doing well, and enabling them by helping them continue to not do well is not safe for them or you. So you pointed that out, and from the clinical aspect of it, what that needs to look like. But then also we looked at the emotional aspect and how trauma and codependency can make us feel safe, but it's not really safe. It's just in your mind. So we hope we bless you today. We look forward to seeing you again next time. God bless you.
Bye.